everyone. I am Corey Lee, and I'm excited to do this. Sorry about that. To do this Facebook Live today, all about Israel. So we're going to be talking about Tel Aviv and Jerusalem in Israel, two of my favorite cities in the world. And Tel Aviv was actually recently named one of the most accessible cities in the world. So we're going to be talking all about that. And joining me today is Eli Mary. He is a tour guide that focuses on accessible tours and an accessibility consultant that lives in Israel. So everyone, please welcome Eli.
Hello.
Eli, thank you so much for joining me.
I'm happy to be here with you.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk with you and let everyone know how amazing Israel is for wheelchair users. So I have been to Israel twice now, and every time it just gets better and better. So I can't wait to come back for a third time.
I will be happy to host you again more and more times, and
hopefully next year.
keeping the work of making things accessible over here.
Yeah, for sure. And can you, to start us out, maybe tell everyone who you are and what you do in Israel, and how they, can learn more about accessibility within Israel.
Yeah. Thank you. I built a company that is called Israel for All. It was for tours for people with disabilities, and that's after my 15 years working as a social worker with people with disabilities in Israel. The company was built on 2008 on 1998, and now another guy is running it, and I am a consultant and a tour guide in Israel, mostly working with people with disabilities all my life.
Nice. Yeah. And I, on both of my trips to Israel, I did use your company, Israel for All. And it's really great, to just have a tour company that specializes in accessibility. And that was nice. And we were able to use accessible transportation thanks to your company. There was an adapted bus that you had. And so when someone arrives in Israel, what can they expect in terms of transportation? Is the public transportation accessible, or should they rely on a tour company?
Okay. Public transportation is quite accessible in the cities, not between the cities. We don't have yet public transportation buses that are accessible between the cities, only for in a special order. But the train is accessible. Train is accessible, so you can go here and there with the train all over Israel. Not everywhere, but there's some lines. It's going all the way to Jerusalem, to Tel Aviv, and to the big cities, to Haifa. So you can use it for that.
Nice. Yeah, that's good to hear. And there's also another company, is it Yad Sarah, that offers accessible transportation?
Actually, Yad Sarah is more a company of they lend equipment for people with disabilities. They also have transportation, but it's more for Israelis. You can also order their transportation if you are in Israel.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so there's Yad Sarah. There is Israel for All, which you used to run, but now due to the pandemic, things have changed a little bit. But you are hoping to again lead tours post-pandemic. Is that correct?
Yes, of course. I'm looking forward to for this period to end, and to go with people over. I have my brand new van, and it's also accessible and with the lift and
Nice.
we can go around.
Yeah, awesome.
But
Oh.
since the pandemic, I didn't use it.
Yeah.
Not yet used it for trips.
Yeah. We do have a comment. She says, it's from my mom, of course, who went to Israel with me both times. And she says, it's good to see you, Ellie. Glad to see you are doing well.
Yeah. Hello, Sandy. I'm happy to see you and to see that you are watching us.
Yeah. And if anyone is watching and has a comment or a question about Israel, please leave your comment right here on the video, and we will do our best to answer whatever questions that you have. I think Ellie I think he left the video, so sorry about that. It may be a minute before he logs back in. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, if you have any questions, please leave a comment, and I'll do my best to answer until Ellie gets back anyway. But for now, I do want to tell you guys about two accessible hotels within Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, and both of these hotels are on HonDiscover.com. So if you're wanting to book an accessible hotel or accommodation, definitely go to HonDiscover.com and you can check those out. So the first one, good to see you again.
Yeah, sorry, I had some noises on the computer and I had to shut it down.
Yeah, I was just telling everyone about some accessible accommodations that they can get in Israel on HonDiscover.com. So the first one that I want to talk about is the David Citadel Hotel. It is a beautiful hotel in Jerusalem, Israel, and it overlooks the domes, steeples, and towers of the ancient walled city of Old Jerusalem. And it is one of Jerusalem's most luxurious hotels. It's also located on the prestigious King David Street, and it's only a short roll or walk away from all of the notable attractions within Jerusalem. So they have fully accessible hotel rooms with roll-in showers and all of the accessible amenities that you need. I actually had the chance to stay at the David Citadel Hotel on my last trip to Israel, and it is really an amazing hotel. I mean, luxurious and a perfect location to be able to walk or roll around the city and get to all the major sites. Ellie, I know you're a big fan of the David Citadel as well, right?
Yes, yeah. We made an interview over there.
Yeah, we did.
You were, yeah, and I like very much this hotel. So they have quite a lot of accessible rooms over there, and just in a perfect location.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so that's in Jerusalem. And then if you're going to be in Tel Aviv, which is only a short distance away from Jerusalem, and Tel Aviv is the capital city of Israel, then you could stay
Jerusalem is the capital city.
Jerusalem. I'm sorry. My mind is somewhere else today. Okay. Yeah, if you are going to be in Tel Aviv, though, you can stay at the Drisco Hotel. It's in the area of Jaffa and only a short walk away from the old city of Jaffa with its narrow streets and flea markets. And the Carmel Market, which is a very popular market in Tel Aviv, is also just a short roll or walk away. And this hotel also has fully accessible rooms with roll-in showers, very spacious rooms, as you can see from that photo. So it's in a really great location.
Yes, it was an old house. They fully renovated it, and they made it a luxurious, wonderful hotel.
Nice. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I mean, it looks incredible. And the next time I'm in Tel Aviv, I can't wait to actually check it out and stay there, hopefully. But hopefully that's
yes.
Yeah. And then once, someone gets to Israel, they find, a company for transportation and get a hotel. They're then going to want to explore the attractions and the sites of Israel. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the outdoor experiences in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. I think, now that we're living in the pandemic, outdoor experiences are really one of the safer places to visit. So, what are some of your favorite outdoor experiences in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem?
Okay, let's start from Jerusalem, and we have the old city that is the most wonderful place to visit. You can see here the Western Wall, and the Dome of the Rock behind it, and it's one of both are accessible, and you can get over there and see it. Um, all the way from the entrance to the old city to all around the city is now very accessible, and you can go and have a very nice walk over there. There is also a uh, application that you can go on and check for accessibility in the old city of Jerusalem.
Oh, nice. How can someone find that? It's an app?
It's an app that you can
Nice.
download for free, and you can go around the old city.
Yeah.
It's quite new.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's really no place like the old city in Jerusalem. It's stunning. I mean, it's one of my favorite places in the world, just rolling through the old city. This is me at the Western Wall. I mean, one of my favorite sites. And then in the old city of Jerusalem, before I actually visited, I thought it would just be really bumpy, lots of cobblestone. And it is bumpy in some areas, but as you can see here, there on the right side, there is a ramp. So there are ramps in some areas of the old city, and there are accessible paths around the old city, as you can see from that sign. It details where the accessible trail is. And even at sites like the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, they have implemented ramps, such as this. So it is a little steep, but it definitely worked and enabled me to be able to visit the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is the site where, can you talk a little bit about the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and some of the major sites in Jerusalem? I guess that would be great. You're more of an expert than I am, so I'll let you explain it.
Okay. The Holy Sepulchre site is the place where Jesus was crucified and brought to the cave to bury, and so it's a place for the burial, but also for the resurrection, because when the people came over on Sunday to check for him, the angel told them, the one you are looking for is not here. It's a wonderful site. It was built first at 325, and by Helena, the mother of Constantine, actually the mother of Christianity, the new Christianity in Israel. And later on, it was renovated by the Crusaders after it was destroyed, and now it's a very nice place to visit.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jerusalem is really unique because it's actually split up into 4 different areas. So you have the Muslim quarter, the Christian quarter, the Jewish quarter, and then the Armenian quarter. And so, within just a short roll, I mean, you can go from seeing the Western Wall to visiting the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the Dome of the Rock, even. So lots of sites right there in a good central location that makes it easy to explore within the span of a few hours. If you don't have a lot of time to really explore for multiple days, then you could easily do it within a few hours, I believe.
Yeah, you can do it in few hours, but if you like to explore it really, it takes days.
Yeah, exactly. And especially if you're stopping to eat like hummus and falafel every 15 minutes, like I love to do.
You can't do it without it.
Right,
In fact,
right.
it's recommended, some very recommended places.
Yeah, and you
And,
know the best places.
yeah, very, 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 very cool places, and you know the the tastes that you can get over there, you can't get anywhere in the world.
Exactly. Yeah, you are correct about that. And aside from the outdoor experiences in Jerusalem, what indoor experiences or like museums and attractions would you
Yeah,
recommend?
I think the best one is the Israel Museum.
Yeah,
That is now, yeah, you can see it now in the picture. It's it was renovated about 10 years ago, and now it's all accessible, and you can get everywhere in the museum. There is a historical museum, and there is also a art museum over there, and Jewish museum, and you can see it all.
yeah.
Yeah,
The Israel Museum is incredible. I mean, it has so many artifacts and sites. I mean, it's you could really spend days in there, I think.
yeah, you can spend days.
Yeah. And another good one is the Holocaust Memorial Museum. I went there on my first trip to Israel, and it's just a really emotional place. And I think a must visit for everyone.
Yeah, it's the Yad Vashem Museum, and it is really amazing, and you can experience over there actually the life in the Holocaust, and the all the murders and everything that was happening over there,
Yeah,
and to understand more the life in Europe at that time.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you could really spend an entire week in just Jerusalem, but I think there's a lot more of Israel to see. It's a smaller country, but it offers a lot of attractions and sites.
Actually, this is the place that the three main beliefs started.
Yeah,
So Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, and so you have all the sides of these uh, faith, and you can go over and see it in one day, or in a week, or in even in the whole life.
yeah, exactly. We have a comment from Mitchell. He's watching, and he says Israel is at the top of his travel bucket list. He's leery about going because he does use a manual wheelchair. But I mean, I hope as you've seen, Mitchell, we've kind of covered the old city of Jerusalem. It does have some smoother pathways now and accessible routes. So I think whether you use a manual chair or a power wheelchair, it is absolutely possible to visit Jerusalem now, and Tel Aviv also, which I would love to talk about now. So we could really talk about Jerusalem all day probably, but I do want to let everyone know about Tel Aviv because it was recently ranked as one of the most accessible cities in the world. I saw an article all about it, and I agree. I mean, Tel Aviv is spectacular. It surpassed every expectation that I had. So, can you tell us about some of the must visit attractions in Tel Aviv, Ellie?
Tel Aviv is more a newer city. It was built only about 110 years ago, and it's really a new city, and it's um, they made it accessible, fully accessible, and you can go over by the sea, by the shore, and look over from Jaffa, and see all the beaches. All the beaches are accessible now, and you can get to the water every place.
Yeah,
Yeah, with a uh, wheelchair, accessible wheelchair that is over there by the sea,
yeah.
and you can get to the water without any problems now.
And this wheelchair, it's an amphibious chair, so that you can actually roll on the sand with it, and it can also get you into the water, which
Yeah,
is amazing. So
and
you don't
floating,
have to like sit there and burn up in the sun, like you can actually get in the water.
and actually float you because it's a balloon wheels and it
Yeah,
floats you up.
yeah, absolutely. And that's at the near the Hilton in Tel Aviv. Is that correct?
But now more and more beaches are
Okay,
accessible and they have wheelchairs like that.
very cool. Awesome.
You
Yeah,
can get them for free while you are over there,
yeah.
and no problem at all.
Nice. Yeah, I never, before actually going to Tel Aviv, I never envisioned that it was like a beach destination. But then, I mean, it really has some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. And it's
Yes.
just such a great destination if you're wanting to just, lounge on the beach or take in the sights also. So I think another special area that you and I went to was the port in Tel Aviv. So there's
Yes.
us at the port, and it's right on the sea and has all kinds of activities.
Yeah. That it's an old port actually. It's not a functioning port anymore, but it's an entertainment place, and you can enjoy it. It's all accessible and really a very nice place to visit. Uh, they have some luxurious shops over there, and it's really, really nice. You can spend afternoon or evenings over there out by the sea and feel wonderful over there. It was the first place that I went now after during the pandemic
Oh
to
yeah.
see that it exists because I needed to see the sea.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no better place to see the sea than at that port. And all
Yeah.
kinds of shops also. So if you want to do some shopping, that's a really good place to visit also. Or if you're a shopaholic, I think the best place in Tel Aviv is the Carmel Market. It's an outdoor market. As you can see there, this was definitely pre-COVID. It was very crowded and packed. But there were all kinds of vendors, and it's completely outdoors. But it is covered on the top in some parts, as you can see, to kind of give you a shade in some areas. But all kinds of like really unique souvenirs and gifts, and even food was available there. And Tel Aviv actually has not only the Carmel market, but they have a couple different markets.
Yes, very interesting markets.
And so those are definitely a good place if you want to do some shopping. And then, are there any other attractions in Tel Aviv that you would like to tell people about?
A lot of attractions over there. There's the Art Museum of Tel Aviv that is fully accessible. The Rabin Museum that is a really nice museum, talks about the person and the Prime Minister of Israel that was murdered, and a lot more to
Yeah,
see over there.
yeah,
Also to go on the streets of Tel Aviv, you can see some very nice sights over there by the streets.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Tel Aviv is a very modern city, so it, I mean, has a lot to do and is extremely accessible. So a very, very good location. And one more attraction that I really wanted to talk about, which is not in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, but it's only a short drive away, about an hour away from Jerusalem. So you could easily do it for a day trip, is hot air ballooning. So on my first trip to Israel, I went hot air ballooning, and it is with a company called Over Israel, and they have accessible hot air balloon baskets. And so, as you can see from that photo, I was sitting in a seat, and it actually had a remote control so that I could raise the seat up to be able to look over the basket. And I was all strapped in, so it was very, very safe. And we were able to go over the Negev desert and see the desert down below, and all of the wonderful sights of Israel. And a door on the basket, as you can see right there, also opens up to make it easier for wheelchair users to actually get into the basket and sitting in that seat from the previous photos. So if you're wanting an adventure, then hot air ballooning is definitely possible within Israel. But Ellie, are there any other uniquely adventurous activities that you can think of in Israel?
Of course, you can get everything. You can get water skiing. You can get some other activities, even kite surfing. Somebody came and made some kite surfing on the Mediterranean. Yeah, and you can rappel in some places, very safe ones that you can go down, even with the wheelchair, and all kinds of other accessible extreme things. You can go on kayaking or swimming or other places like that.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds fun. I need to get back to Israel and have some more adventures.
Yeah, it's waiting for you.
Yeah. And what is Israel doing to improve or showcase accessibility overall? Are there any kind of unique accessibility initiatives that you would like to talk about?
Uh, they are taking very seriously the accessibility matter in Israel. So almost every park and every uh, garden, national park is accessible now. Uh, for example, Masada, you can go up a cable car that is fully accessible and go up to the mountain, go around on top of the mountain with a wheelchair, uh, and see the very unique place of Masada,
Yeah.
and very many other places you can go around.
Yeah, Masada is incredible. We did that, and I'm just even riding the cable car to the top of it is a lot of fun. And Masada is located beside the Dead Sea, so you can see the Dead Sea from the top of Masada, and then you can even go like swim in the Dead Sea if you want to.
Yeah, not on Dead Sea, you can go on the water without any problems.
Yeah, fantastic. So Israel definitely has a lot of unique attractions and things to do, and I know that Israel is really ahead of the game and trying to become a leading accessible destination. And with companies like yours, I mean, you guys are really paving the way to make things as accessible as possible. And I really appreciate you being an advocate for accessibility within Israel. I think it's a wonderful destination that everyone should visit at least once, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
And I guess the last,
very recommended.
yeah, and I guess my last question would be if you could only recommend 3 activities or attractions for someone coming to Israel, what would your top 3 be? And those could be in Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, or somewhere else in Israel.
Um, Only 3 is a very big problem.
I know it's difficult.
Because, yeah, Tel Aviv and Jerusalem are a must,
Yeah.
actually, and you can go to other places in Israel, like the Sea of Galilee,
Yeah.
that is wonderful, and all around. And if you like to make some extreme sports, you can just ask what you like, and I'm quite sure that you can get an answer, a very good answer, accessible answer to all your dreams.
Yeah, exactly. And if I had to pick 3, I would say definitely hot air ballooning. That's one of my favorite experiences of all time.
Okay.
Again, the company is called Over Israel. They have the adaptive hot air balloon. And I would say visiting the beaches in Tel Aviv. I mean, some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. And then, of course, the old city in Jerusalem. So
Yeah.
truly no other place in the world like the old city. That should be the number one must do for anyone visiting Israel, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
can you let everyone know where they can find out more information about accessibility in Israel, or how to get in contact with you or a company if they want to plan an accessible tour?
Yeah. Yeah, they can contact me directly. Now I'm working for a new company that is Access Tourism Israel, and we are just building a new website now, and it's not yet. We don't have yet a website, but it's on the way.
Nice.
And yeah, you can contact me directly. It's e.mary54@gmail.com.
Okay.
That's my private email, and I'll be very happy to suggest you what and where to go and what to do.
Nice. So e.mary54@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I hope you get some business after the pandemic again, and I hope I can be your first customer. So I'm ready to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for you, and really would like to see you here.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining us, Ellie. I really appreciate having you, and hope that everyone learned a lot about Israel today. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting me.
Yeah.
Thank you for hosting me and having me on the show, and I'll be happy to assist everybody and to come over to Israel.
All right. Yeah, thank you, and have a good day. Thank you so much.
Great.
And thank you all so much for watching today. I really appreciate you tuning in and hopefully learning a lot about accessibility within Israel. It is a fantastic destination that should not be overlooked, and it's never too early to plan for the future. Now may not be the right time to travel, or get on a plane and go to Israel, but you can never plan too early for a future trip. So start planning for your trip to Israel, and I hope to see you again in a few weeks for another Facebook Live event all about the different destinations. So thank you so much, and I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Until then, go to HamDiscover.com and see all of the accommodations that we have to offer within Israel and all around the world. So thank you.